This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
You know Santa and Frosty and Jack Frost and Rudolph. But do you recall the most magical creature of all? Krampus, the half-goat demon, Santa's evil Christmas friend. Careful if you've been naughty, 'cause he'll get you in the end. Welcome to Baconsale, everybody.
That was awesome. Oh, wow. It feels, guys, I'm not going to lie. It feels weird to invoke that name again.
It feels wrong?
Are you worried?
It's been a few seasons now, but I still, every time we mention him, I just get eerie.
Every time since season 1, with that funny joke / real life event, we always get worried about saying the name of Krampus.
Yeah, it's right up there with Scream Queen.
Yeah, hey, please don't. Please don't.
But welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Zach.
We'd like to thank you for listening to our last show, our Christmas music part 2 celebration of
So good.
all things happy.
And our final Christmas song show ever.
No.
Right?
No.
No.
Not
I
according
could
to
do
the
a few more.
comments.
There were some pretty fun comments as well. Honestly, I just have to throw out there, I really like Instagram. There's just always
I hate Instagram.
Some nice comment about Zach on Instagram.
Yeah,
There's some
like
nice
2 of
comments about Zach on Facebook. You guys are the best. Thank you. But our friend Crew Dutler said, you guys mentioned some good songs, some weird songs, and some horrible songs. But finally, Baconsale, at the end of the episode, you came to a song I absolutely love, BNL's God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. But Sam Ma disagrees and says, am I the only one that doesn't particularly like that song? It's fine, but I've heard it 10 million billion times
I'm with you,
on the
Sam.
radio.
Because it's good.
And I'm just done with it now. It's good, okay? Don't listen to the radio. That's your first problem.
It's true.
Just saying. But then Kendall Eliason says, that's weird that Kent hates acapella. Lindsay Sterling loves acapella, so ergo, Kent should love it also.
That makes
also,
sense.
which Pitch Perfect movie hurt you?
Pitch Perfect 2. And also, I just bought Pentatonics. Is that what it's called?
Pentatonics.
Pentagram
Tonics,
Tonics.
yeah.
I bought their entire discography.
Really?
So,
for
Lindsay,
you.
there you go.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, there was a bunch of fun comments. Thank you so much for participating. Ryan Farron also went through and did like all of the songs. I know a couple other did, but thank you so much. It was really fun to see your choices as well. And it just goes to show that there are so many more choices, Kent. So many more.
Okay, 5 years from now. We got a new iTunes review, everybody.
Whoa! New
Had to
iTunes
throw
review.
that in there. That was a good segue, right?
That's great.
Yeah.
So this iTunes review is from Verbis Vivum, right? I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
And the title of the subject.
It's actually pronounced Verbus Vivium.
We're going to invoke so many demons on this show. So the subject of this review is Making Mondays Fun Again. And it's a 5-star review, everyone.
Hey, thank you.
Which I kind of love.
You don't have to
A
give us
lot.
5-star reviews, but please do.
But you should. So the review is short and simple. I'm going to leave the last part out because I think it swears.
No, I
It
think
says,
no.
hold on. Let me read
we
it,
need to
Joel.
read these verbatim.
Verbis Vivum verbatim.
Yes.
This podcast gets me through my workday. Tier 1 for sure. And then there's a swear word I just have to edit
it's
out.
not a swear word.
Will you read that?
Just go ahead and read it, Kent.
Yeah.
Hashtag Team Joel.
What was that? What was that?
It's in parentheses, so I don't really have to read it. It's inferred.
Hashtag Team Joel.
That's not cool.
Yes.
I
Thank
feel
you,
like I just got a
Verbis Vivum.
1-star review and you got a
friends,
5-star.
We're friends now. Oh, and we'd also like to thank all those who came out to our patron Zoom night we had this past
Our
week.
social distancing
That was
event.
so
Yeah, we
fun.
got to get together with people for half hour at a time and just kind of shoot the breeze, have some fun, play some games.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it. We had a great time. We hope you did as well. But that's not what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today, Zach?
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm thinking of calling this Alternative Christmas. We're talking about some things across
We're doing
the
a musical
world.
alternative Christmas show?
Yeah.
Christmas songs by alternative bands?
Okay, I'm in.
No, this is Christmas type figures from other places in the country, or other places in the world, rather.
Can we just call it Europe is weird?
Europe is weird.
Because that seems really fitting. And we'll find out why. Because we have a guest.
We do. We have a guest in the house. We have our patron, Chris Draudt.
Hey, Chris.
Hello.
Chris, welcome. Welcome to the Bacon
you.
Cave. Chris, why don't you introduce yourself and let people know who you are and why you decided to talk about this?
Well, my name is Chris Draudt. I've been listening to the show for quite a while, and I was actually born in Germany. My dad is German, so I've got that weird European
I take
side
it back.
of me.
I'm so sorry.
No, I accept it. But part of the Christmas holiday, we always celebrated St. Nicolaus. I know I'm going to get some grief for saying it that way.
Can I call him
Jolly old
Santa?
St. Nicolaus.
There you go. But we always celebrated St. Nicolaus, and part of that was there's the good side. There's St. Nick, who gives the treats and the candy and the toys. And then there was the bad guy. And in the area that my family comes from, in Bavaria, that was Krampus. So We always kind of feared the Krampus around Christmas time. We knew we needed to be good kids if we didn't want to end up in Krampus's sack.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to pause you there because we have a tradition here every time we have a guest join the show.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes,
Joel,
yes.
if you would.
Now, Chris, we have a series of questions for you. These are rapid-fire questions we're going to throw your way. Answer them however you feel. Even if you don't have a strong opinion, make a decision. And there's no right or wrong answer, but we'll have strong.
We will have quiet
reaction.
cheering in the background.
But yeah, so we're going to run through these real quick. Are you ready?
I'm
for the
ready.
Lightning round questions. Which is better, Karate Kid 1 or Karate Kid 2?
Karate Kid 1.
Which is worse, Star Wars Episode 1 or Star Wars Episode 2?
I've got to go with episode 2.
Do you rate your movies using stars or letter grades?
Letter grades.
Okay. Team Kent.
One answer.
Which is the more America movie, Rocky 4 or Independence Day?
I'm going to go with Independence Day.
Joel's so happy it's the first time it's happened in a while.
Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
Halloween.
Okay, there we go.
Buffy or X-Files?
I never watched Buffy, so I'm going to have to go with X-Files.
Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Chris,
Which movie's more Christmassy, Die Hard or Lethal Weapon?
if you get this one, I don't know what I'll do.
Die Hard?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Good question. That was a question mark at the end of that one.
Phantom of the Opera or Les Miserables?
Phantom.
Okay. Labyrinth or Never-Ending Story?
Never-ending Story.
And then How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or 10 Things I Hate About You?
Oh, I hate How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, so 10
By
things I hate
default?
about you.
I still lost by 13 points.
Wow. Oh, it's all good. Well, thank you, Chris, for answering.
Yeah,
those.
thank you.
And thank you for coming on the show because this is something you have a passion about as well.
Right.
Well, I noticed this because on Facebook you're pretty active in this group. It's Krampus 801.
Right.
Is that still a thing?
It is. So I started Krampus 801 toward the end of 2018 with the idea of putting together Krampus-type events similar to what they do in Europe. So 2019, we had a couple of things that we did, thinking 2020 was going to be our big year.
Yeah.
We were going to get big events going.
So what does big year mean? Like what kind of festivities would entail a big year for Krampusnacht?
So there you go.
Yeah. Good job.
So for Krampusnacht, normally there would be...
Which is Krampus night, by the way.
Exactly,
Yes.
Krampus night.
Krampus
night.
So Krampus night is December 5th.
Goatee night.
So it's December 5th, and December 6th is St. Nikolaus Day. And part of Krampusnacht in the some of the smaller villages in Austria is a house visit, basically. So
I thought it was just a parade for some
the
reason.
parade is more of a modern thing.
I feel way more comfortable with a parade than I do a house visit from some dude wearing a Krampus outfit.
Oh, the house visits can be pretty traumatic, but
Go on. No, explain, because I feel like what we're explaining, yes, there was a Krampus movie in 2015. And I feel like that was a lot of Americans' first introduction to Krampus.
Yes.
It was kind of mine, to be honest with you. And now it's been popularized in pop culture, but that's still about it.
Well,
like the
and
characters
to
we're going to
describe
introduce here.
what it's going to be, you're going to open the door and there's going to be this tall, hairy, horned,
Yeah.
long-tongued figure standing at your door.
So why would this be? What's the point behind these festivities? What are they celebrating? Why did they celebrate that way? Why did they come to the house?
I mean, it all starts from back in the early days in Germany.
When you say early days,
I mean,
1980s.
Yeah. It's going to be, 1600s probably, but they had a way of raising their kids where you put the fear in them a little bit, made sure that they were nice. There was a consequence.
So, like we think of Saint Nikolaus. Did I say
There
that
you
okay?
go.
Sinterklaas.
And it's like,
Sinterklaas.
he's got the rosy red cheeks. He's a big guy, just friendly all the time. He gives us gifts at Christmas. And do they celebrate, even though the Santa Day is the 6th, do they still have Christmas on traditional 25th?
They do. So
Okay.
the 6th is St. Nikolaus Day. And Nikolaus is actually, rather than what we see as Santa Claus with the big red coat and white
Coca-Cola.
trim and Coca-Cola Santa,
Sure.
Yeah.
they celebrate the Saint Nicholas. So
he's got like a pope hat on.
exactly. He's
and
got
a staff.
Would you say he's benevolent in nature?
right.
But it seems like he's traveling. Oh, go ahead, Joel.
It feels to me like in a lot of these traditions we're going to talk about today, it's like, Santa, he wants to just do the good stuff.
Super nice.
He doesn't want to be the guy that fires people.
He's the good parent, basically.
Yeah, basically, he's good cop. And then he's got bad cop who's going to be, it's all these other characters are bad cops. So it's like,
Exactly.
he doesn't want to be the one beating children. So he's like, I'll give him candy. Oh, you're naughty? Come on in, Krampus.
But it's weird. He's almost like this Godfather where he may have found these people who did bad things. And we're going to tell some stories in this show that don't seem like Christmas stories, to be honest.
And it's going to get a little dark at times, just so you know, if you're listening with children. Some of these folkloric characters do some pretty awful things. We'll never get like, terribly gory or anything like that. But I was kind of shocked by some of the actions of some of St. Nicholas's helpers.
But yeah, none of this will be as gory as, like, say, a Disney bracket show.
Precisely. Winnie the Pooh, I tell you. But yeah, it seems like St. Nicholas, he punishes people for doing horrific acts and they become his helpers, almost to benefit the world at large, or at least Europe.
Right.
It's interesting because that is the dichotomy. There's something like Krampus, who is horned. He's a half goat, half demon. I mean, if you see him in the movie, he's basically mocking Santa. At that point, that's more of an emphasis on he's mocking Santa, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas normally he just kind of looks like a goat wearing a basket backpack. And he has, like, everyone has a switch, by the way, like this thatch switch.
Yeah, they like beating kids with sticks.
Yeah.
Beating kids with sticks and stuffing them in baskets.
No, but this is, and the thing is, you mentioned Germany, but this is also prevalent in Austria, Bavaria, Croatia, Czech Republic, Hungary, Northern Italy, Slovenia. Like, it's kind of this whole European thing going on there. And I don't understand why this picked up so much steam so quickly. Why did people in different countries go, hey, they're beating their kids with sticks over there, like Goatman is. I like that. Let's do that in our country. Like, how did it happen?
In modern day, is this still a way to help kids behave?
It is.
It is.
And Joel, I think, Kent really hit the nail on the head a couple minutes ago when he called Europeans weird.
Okay.
No, that's the thing. Is like, I know, having lived in Europe a while, there's a lot of traditions and superstitions there that I'm just like, that seems weird. Like they say, if you drink, cold water on a hot day, you can die. And I'm like, that the whole point of drinking cold water on a hot day is a good thing. But I just find it so interesting that these traditions not only were way back then in like the 1700s, 1800s, but to this day, there's still some parents out there in Europe who are saying, hey, be good or Krampus is going to beat you with a stick.
Yeah, because like the biggest consequence for kids like misbehaving is coal in their stocking, right?
Here in America.
And now it's like you could get taken and put in a child-sized sack and never return to your family.
Right.
That's horrible.
The threat was kidnapping, death,
beatings,
being taken to where Krampus lives, apparently.
So let's get back to this parade where these fully grown men, you, are wearing a Krampus outfit, which, by the way, we have 10 feet away.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, this will be the photo.
It is very ominous and like impressive. Like I walked in, and I'm like, that looks legit.
Like, I don't have muscles, but that's pretty heavy.
It is. It's heavy.
Yeah.
And it's made from boar hair?
Boar. Yeah, it's made out of boar skin.
Wow.
Do you feel like it's going to be like a Goosebumps episode where you put the mask on and it becomes your face?
That's kind of what happens. You put the mask on and you put the suit on and you start bouncing around and you become a different person.
If you were to wear this, let's say this festival happened for you this year or next year, for example, and a kid saw you and was terrified, like, how would you react? Or how do these people in Austria and Germany and all these countries react? Like when they knock on a door, are they trying to scare children in order to say, hey, just watching you, letting you know?
Well, I mean, doing it here, our group has decided that we're going to be very family friendly.
Nice.
So, we're not going to be...
You're not going to be beating children?
We're not going to be beating children. We want to bring the culture and the tradition to the U.S., kind of to spread it a little bit.
For the season, it's all about the beatings.
It's true.
Well, it sounds like a mosh pit over in Germany when they do the Krampus run.
Right. So
which is when a bunch of guys get together, dress up like Krampus, and run around the streets.
Is that the way they get tension out over there? I mean, geez.
During the holidays. So the Krampus, they call it a Krampuslauf, which is the more
delicious,
modern.
By the way.
Oh, yeah. It's the Krampus run. They will have basically a parade, like you've been saying, in all sorts of different villages and different areas.
Right.
And they will invite different Krampus groups, which they call a Krampus Pass. So each Krampus Pass will have their own Nikolaus usually, and any number of 5, 6 to 10 guys that dress up as Krampus.
And they go around, but for what purpose? Like, are they trying to gather stuff or get fed at each door?
Or
just
is it cosplay?
The Krampuslauf is purely just showing off, really. It's a way for them to interact with the community. The community comes out in huge numbers to support these groups. There's one in Munich that they do every year, and it is huge.
So it's like Comic-Cons, but for pagans?
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like.
It's a good call.
But the bigger ones, they'll have hundreds of people dressed as Krampus, St. Nikolaus, and maybe a couple of other of the characters that we'll talk about. And they basically walk around the streets. They're usually barricaded off so they can't get too close to the people, but they'll swat at them with their sticks and their horsetail whips. And
Europe is weird.
they're weird. They're weird. I'll admit it.
It's bizarre.
But the Krampuslauf, that is the more modern thing, what you see more now.
Well, and I read that they actually tried to, in the 1930s in Austria, they tried to ban Krampus. They said he's evil and like
Yeah, like the fascists were trying to ban it.
Yeah, and the people basically, and then in the 1950s, they're like, "Nah, we like Krampus, bring him back."
It's been kind of a recent thing. I mean, it was around for hundreds of years, and then, like you said, it was banned, and then the 50s, 60s, around there is really when the traditions started to come back. And just now we're starting to get things in America, like with the movie, for example.
Right. Do you see it growing here in America, like actually taking a hold and people actually threatening their children with Krampus?
Not necessarily that side of it, but there are groups in Los Angeles, kind of out east, that have put together pretty big Krampus groups. Krampus Los Angeles, they host a big event every year.
I love that show. It's part of NCIS.
Yeah.
Oh, we got another child that disappeared.
Weird.
It was Krampus. Gong, gong. That's the end of the episode. Every episode's like that.
He just burps. Well, or takes off his glasses.
Well, it's also weird to me, though, that, like, I mean, Krampus, they have these festivals, but also, like, greeting cards.
Yeah.
They have what they call Krampuskarten, which is they just have these greeting cards with Krampus terrifying children, and they pass them around at the holidays.
Yeah.
It's like this ominous figure grabbing a child and stealing away, and they're like, "Happy holidays."
It's just this funny, subtle reminder. Like, so I was looking up sightings, like actual sightings of Krampus, and this website called the Ramsbury Raven, on the 3rd of this month, like a week ago, they reported there was like a motorist who took a picture of Krampus who was on the side of the road. And, you know, may or may not have been Krampus, but still took a picture and sent it to the news. Very, very small town. And this website says, city officials have said, this is a warning for all kids in the area just to behave for the next couple weeks.
That report didn't come from Saratoga Springs, Utah, did it?
No, because no kids are behaving there. Would you put stuff like that out there?
Yeah, I don't know.
What would be your dream? Like, would you like to see this festival gain traction like here in Utah?
I would love to see a Utah Krampuslauf. This year we did several house visits, which we kind of talked about a little bit earlier.
Now, when you say house visit, I got to know what happens at a house visit from Krampus.
So with
Can you
a
rate
house,
their fridge or something? Or?
And what are multiple Krampuses called? Krampi?
No, they would.
No, it's
I
like
mean, we
goose.
would really just probably say Krampuses.
Okay.
Usually,
So I'm at home.
Each group.
There's a knock on my door.
And you think it's going to be carolers?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: you probably will have contacted this group and told them you've got bad kids.
Oh.
they
I love it. Okay, this makes
So far,
sense.
so good.
There's a lot more preparation that goes into this.
It's a scared straight Christmas
Exactly.
style. Yeah.
So the parents will usually get in contact with the different groups, and those groups go from house to house in the areas in their little villages usually, and they'll have their own Nikolaus, and usually Nikolaus goes in first, and he will talk with the kids. And as part of this house visit, the kids are always asked to prepare something for St. Nikolaus, whether it be reciting a scripture, a poem. They may sing a song. They will do something to kind of honor St. Nikolaus.
Kind of an offering of sorts.
Right. Now, Nikolaus also carries around a big golden book that contains all of the good and bad deeds of the kids. So he will give the good kids their treats, their chocolates or their gingerbreads. And then when
Do you
he's
keep
done,
the treats pretty traditional? Or is it like figs and nuts or something like that?
When we did it, I mean, I was just handing out candy canes.
Okay.
I had my dad play Nikolaus because he's German, and he actually did a little more preparation than I did, and they had some nice cookies for the kids in their neighborhood, but I went the cheap route. But so the Nikolaus will give the kids their treats, and then in comes Krampus with his bells and his chains making a big ruckus. And
The kids don't know this is coming either.
They have to, right?
I mean, if they're older, they probably do.
Right.
But
I'm talking like American
How
kids around
jarring
here.
would that be? You're
the,
like,
the house visits you've done around here is what I'm talking about.
Santa's
they
here,
had-
Santa's here.
And it's like,
This is
this
someone
is
else.
Tenacious D. What's happening?
the kids
Basically.
had no idea. I had arranged it previously with some of the parents, and when we got to the house, the mom goes, "You may want to step back a little bit. I think you're going to give my kids nightmares." So I hung back on the driveway and let my dad do his thing.
So you were a far away terror, basically,
Exactly.
just
Sneaking
staring
around a tree.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But traditionally, the Krampus would bust in, making all sorts of noise.
Because he's wearing chains and bells and...
And he would usually tug at the kids, maybe pull at their sweater, pull their hats off. One
Merry
Say,
Christmas.
don't do drugs.
yeah. One kind of common thing is they will have a table set up, and they will have the family and all the kids at one end of the table, and they will use it to keep Krampus away. They'll push the table back, and Krampus will try and get past the table and get to the kids.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's not as common these days to see these more.
I feel like
kind of-
as Americans, we've grown too soft, and we need a tradition
I was
like
going to
this.
ask,
Right.
how does one book one of these visits when their kids have been cruddy?
Look us up on Facebook and Instagram at Krampus801.
Okay. That's for the Utah area.
Yeah.
Want us to
But-
terrorize your children?
Yeah.
Call us now.
It's really funny. Like I've gotten a lot of parents that have said, "Oh, this is great," but then I think when it comes time to actually do it, I think they're a little bit skittish.
I'm so tempted to do this to my kids.
These pictures are intense.
Oh,
Looking
yeah.
at his
Yeah.
pictures right now.
Well, I mean, he's like
it's-
I said,
wow.
he's got like these huge horns and he's all hairy and usually kind of a grotesque face, long tongue hanging out, which
Yeah.
that just weirds me out.
Yeah, the traditional
Fangs.
Krampus costume will be a suit made from fur, usually goat fur. Mine is made out of boar, but it comes from the alpine areas. They used
Alpine
animals.
Utah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alpine Utah. There's
All
lots
the
of
boars there.
Karens
So
out there.
elitist Krampus comes out.
Yeah. So they would use, the skins and the animals that they had available to them to build their costumes. So that's why we see a lot of ram's horns and goat horns and things on the masks. But the traditional mask is also a hand-carved wooden mask.
Wow.
Real ram horns or goat horns on it. Some people will have like gloves with claws. The word Krampus actually comes from the old German word Krampen, which is claw. So I haven't opted for gloves yet.
So my dating technique, I can call it the Krampus.
You can call it the Krampus.
Don't call it the Krampus. That makes it creepier. No, I was going to say that sounds like a really cool thing to do. Well, and like I read some of these, like this one in Italy. They have their Krampus festival in early December, and just before sunsets, Krampus comes out from an old cave to chase children and adults, punishing them with strokes on the legs, like he's whipping them on the legs. He's still to this day they do this. And then to satisfy their anger, the adults, whoever he's chasing, must recite a prayer to get him to go away. And I'm like, I don't see the joy in getting whipped on the legs for a holiday. But
Oh, I get it.
but it's just funny to me how, like you said, we're kind of soft here. It's like all good, all positive.
Yeah.
Worst thing that can happen, you get a lump of coal.
Well, it's kind of a reminder, right? I'm sure this is primarily religious communities. And, when you see Santa, very benevolent, right? But when you see a monster, which is the opposition to all good,
Yeah.
it reminds you, I better behave.
Right.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
it seems like they were really leaning. Like I guess kids were jerks back in the day because they were really leaning into this. You better behave or else. With some of these other things we're going to talk about.
It's really funny the fact that Europeans are so eager to just scare their kids so much. I work in a company where we deal a lot with international, business. Working with a European country for regulations and things like that, they're so strict. They're very conservative, but they have no problems scaring their kids to death. I mean, I don't get it.
style.
Meanwhile, here in America, we have horror movie training in 4 phases for our children.
First of all, I just have to say I'm like, my mind is blown. I didn't know anything about this.
Can I volunteer for next year's Krampus log?
Go
Krampus
for
log?
it. Yeah.
Krampus loaf?
Am I going to get a visit? Am I gonna get a
As long
visit
as
from
there aren't
Krampus next year?
raisins in
You
it.
you have to bring your own costume, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they're expensive. They're like, what, hundreds of dollars, right?
Well, the custom ones that these people in Austria and Germany have made, I mean, they can go into 1,000
Thousands,
euros
yeah.
for
So I can't
a
go to
new
Spirit
custom.
Halloween and find one?
No, not at all.
Probably now you could with the official Krampus merchandise from the movie.
Yeah, that's
but-
true.
Yeah, that's
What
true.
if you think about it? Like any like good cosplay, it gets expensive.
Yeah, time and effort.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
would someone be accepted if they like just took a couple tree branches and put them on their head and then wore a blanket around their shoulders?
We have people in the group that, I mean, they're using rubber masks
Oh,
or
they're not from Alpine.
right. I just want to spread the tradition. So we have, like I said, the rubber masks. We have a guy that has made his own masks out of latex. I think he does mask making and kind of movie effects type stuff. There are people that just do makeup and
3D
have
printed
horns and
stormtrooper
things.
armor with like horns on it.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, exactly.
So your thing is more like you just want to make sure that people are participating and
Right. I myself want to do it the traditional way, but I love that other people can get into it also with the alternatives to a real fur suit or a hand carved wooden mask. We have lots of faux fur suits and all sorts of stuff. Leather vests.
So you're saying
things like
Krampus
that.
is very progressive now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like this is about to be a biker gang.
It
pretty
is.
quick.
kind of.
In a cool way.
Can you imagine Krampus on a motorcycle? That'd
It'd be so
awesome.
cool.
You guys saw the eye holes in that mask. I don't think that would be very
so
safe.
dangerous.
Well, you can get one of his friends to drive.
There
for
we
him.
go.
His
he can
friends,
sit in the
you
little
say?
sidecar.
Well, it's
Krampus has friends?
St.
Yeah.
Nicholas's friends.
So there's kind of more than just Krampus. Granted,
So many more.
we have heard of it because of the movie, but not only is there weird stuff in Europe. I mean, is Iceland part of Europe?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Europe, yeah.
So in Iceland, there's also a bunch of weird ones that we'll bring up here, and maybe not as much as Krampus, but there's oh dang it, these are some hard names to pronounce. I'm so sorry.
We're gonna mispronounce
Zach,
every name here. Just
ready?
Go for the mom first.
Yeah.
What?
She's the mom.
He doesn't know which one's the mom.
Oh,
I don't know.
just say the name and try it out.
Grilla.
You listened to a YouTube
I'm
video.
cheating. Grilla?
Grilla.
Grilla.
So Grilla, she is the matron figure of this weird, strange family. She is a giantess whose appearance is repulsive. And like Krampus, a lot of these characters, which we're going to mention, are straight up monsters. They are the opposite of Santa, and they may travel with him or without him, but they are meant to kind of serve the same kind of role that Krampus does as well, just in different regions.
And like Ken said, she's a giantess, very repulsive, and she has an appetite for the flesh of mischievous children, as it says.
No big deal.
She's been married 3 times. We don't know much about her first 2 husbands.
I think she ate them.
But her third husband...
Isn't this a Mike Myers movie?
her third husband, Lepeludi, I'm going to say it that way, is lazy. And he just stays
He's
at home in
super
the cave
lazy.
the whole time. And then she goes out, and she goes around and looks for mischievous children, and she can detect them year-round. This isn't just a Christmas thing, but she comes out around Christmas time to come from the mountains to look for her next meal.
In fact, her favorite meal is a stew made of naughty kids, of which she has an insatiable appetite. And there's never a shortage of food of these naughty kids. I mean,
Sounds like my house.
But then it's not just her, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
She has a cat as well.
not just a cat.
You want to name the cat, Kent?
I want Zach too. I'm gonna Jola Koturin.
Jolak Turin.
Yolak?
Yola? It'd be Yo.
It's Icelandic. I don't know.
Chris, please help us out.
I'll just say Yule Cat.
That is Yule
Yule
cat.
cat.
Yeah,
That's cheating, though.
Yeah.
Jolak Turin.
So this is the house pet of the family, and if you've seen Christmas Chronicles 2 now on Netflix, you've seen the Yule Cat.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, it's in Christmas Chronicles
I
too.
need to watch it.
As is another character,
And yeah,
which we'll
it's
bring up in a little
huge
bit.
cat that kind of, it's the same basic thing. It comes out with Grilla and just looks for naughty children and then eats them.
Yeah. And it's a peeping Tom. Like, it will go look into your windows and look for kids. And this is the tradition. Like, we'll name the characters and then talk about, like, maybe how they try to harm children or punish them, but also how you ward them off. Like, for example, Grilla, you can just give her food and she'll go away, right? Which is nice because you don't have to give her kids. You can actually give her other food.
But what does a giantess eat?
Apples, maybe, hopefully.
Apples?
Yeah, beef
They're
jerky.
tiny.
Apples, Mickey Mouse.
Maybe Mickey Mouse. But the Yule Cat, he is looking for kids who haven't received new clothes.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, if you don't, like the kids that complain about getting new clothes, this is the way to get them to not complain by saying, well, if you don't get new clothes, the giant cat's going to come eat you.
Exactly. He knows. He knows if he
You better be
doesn't see
grateful
those
for
new
those socks.
clothes.
But there's a reason he's looking for new clothes. Because he's looking to eat lazy children. In Iceland, if kids have not worked, if they haven't done their chores, they will not get these new clothes before Christmas. And so, yeah, he's basically making sure.
So if you don't
did
work,
your
you don't get
chores.
your clothes.
Exactly.
And then if you don't get your clothes, the cat gets you.
Yeah.
Cat got your clothes. No?
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Hey, sort of.
Yeah.
Cat got your flesh.
But wait, there's more in this family. Because in addition to Grilla, her husband, Lipaludi, and the cat, Yule Cat, there's also the Yule Lads.
I love Icelandic Yule Lads is a really cool name.
It is. If only I had a band named that.
I know. Come on.
So these are depicted as relatively child-friendly trolls. They were conceived as terrifying monsters intended to scare children, but in modern times, they've definitely softened the blow, I would say.
Well, okay, so there's a group of 13 of them. And actually, there's this poem that came out in 1932 called, it was in the poetry book Christmas is Coming, and it's about the Yule Lads. And the poet there named them and gave them personality. So it's kind of like Snow White, where originally the dwarves had no separate personalities or names or anything like characteristics. But this guy gave the 13 Yule Lads each a name and a characteristic.
I love these names.
They're
They're the best part of this.
These are like
whole thing.
one-dimensional characters, honestly.
It's
Chris,
like
do you have the list?
Any cartoon in
do.
the 80s.
So I've got the list right here.
You
I don't
gonna-
know if this is the same list as what
Are you doing
got.
the English translation or are you going to do this Icelandic name?
Please, English.
I'm
please.
going to do English.
Okay.
Please do.
So we've got Sheepcoat Clod, who tries to suckle ewes in a farmer's sheep sheds. Gullygawk, he steals foam from buckets of cow milk. These are just terrible things.
Yes. So we got someone that tries to suckle on sheep and someone that tries to steal milk.
We've got Stubby, who's short and steals food from frying pans.
This is really where we get to the unoriginality in the
Right.
names. Like,
Wait. These next three are like, I'm like, you weren't really trying, man.
no, not at all.
This one is fantastic. We've got Spoon Licker. Anyone want to guess?
with my hand.
Want to guess what he does?
He licks
He
spoons.
licks spoons.
Oh.
And he's very thin due to malnutrition. That's literally what it says. His characteristic is he's thin.
I would be whisk licker because when you're making like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
ice cream-
So we've now
Whisk
got
licker.
So we had Spoon Licker,
Spoon Licker.
and the next one is
So
Can we spend 20 minutes naming these guys?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what do we got next?
Pot Scraper.
Yeah, real
also known
original.
as Pot Licker.
Pot Licker. He steals unwashed pots and licks them clean.
Which doesn't
Now,
seem like
that
a
sounds
bad thing.
great. Yeah.
It's like, you're,
Hey,
you
there's
just
no
get done.
malnutrition there.
It's actually helpful.
So basically, you're saying my
It's like when you feed your dog and you put the pot down. Not that I have a dog.
Yeah.
Pot licker, come in here. This troll comes
Pot
in.
Licker, come here.
Yeah, there's my kid's dishwasher and floor vacuumer.
yeah.
That's a good idea.
So we had Spoon Licker, Pot Licker, and who's this next one?
We've got Bowl Licker. Steals bowls of food from under the bed.
Like, because kids
which-
would take a bowl
who
of stew
keeps-
to bed,
Yeah.
probably, and
That
put them
sounds
next
so-
to the
it
bed.
sounds so
been
specific.
there.
It's
Come on.
dated, man. Who keeps bowls under the bed anymore?
I do. Cereal.
All right. Now we've got Door Slammer.
Every kid.
Who he stomps around and slams doors,
Just to
keeping
wake people
everyone
up.
awake. Exactly.
Yep.
He gets sworn at so much, I'm sure.
Now, Skyr Gobbler, who eats up the Icelandic yogurt, Skyr,
Yeah, it's called
S-K-Y-R.
Wait, like only a certain brand of yogurt? Or is this what
I
yogurt
think
is
it's like
called?
Greek yogurt. Where it's like a
or
special-
is it like Activia?
Is this Yoplait?
Yeah, they only eat Activia. These are very regular
Activia
trolls.
Gobbler over there. How are these not all band names?
Oh, no.
That's the next thing. These are all going to be
Oh, I don't
band
like this
names.
next one. I'm not comfortable with it.
Sausage Swiper. He
No
loves
swiper, no
stolen
swiping.
sausages.
He hides in the rafters, and he steals sausages when they're smoking.
Yeah, so he waits for you to have a barbecue, and he'll snatch, swipe.
So we've got Oh boy.
See, we're killing Zach on this.
So many trolls.
Is this one family friendly?
It's
Window
family.
peeper?
Yes. Because he doesn't peep at people. He's peeping for things to steal.
Okay. Door sniffer. He has a huge nose and an insatiable appetite for stolen baked goods.
I think there's a door somewhere. I can smell a door.
It's like he walks into any house, you're just like...
All right, we've got Meat Hook.
That's a cool name. That's a
Yeah.
scary name.
He snatches up any meat left out, especially smoked lamb.
And he has a hook for it. Like picture
Yeah.
like Candyman walking around just grabbing meat.
Oh, that's terrifying. And then last but not least is Candle Beggar, who steals candles, which used to be a sought after item in Iceland.
Yeah, because he'll follow around children who have candles because they're used to be made of tallow or fat, and then he could eat them.
He'd eat them.
So these are all just based on like cleaning up after yourself, it seems. You know,
That's
it's a lot of
none
like
of
these little creatures are common if you don't do all your chores.
Well, and it used to be they were more like Chris said, it was more kind of scary, homicidal type stuff, but they've softened them a lot into basically doing chores.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
If
But-
you guys could be one of these guys, the one of the lads,
Pot liquor.
Oh, door sniffer, definitely.
I'd say sausage swiper, but I'm not gonna.
I do like
I would
sausage
do that.
swiper.
No, but the name's the worst.
These guys actually, so they start coming out on the 12 days of Christmas, and then they stay 13 days, and then they go away, but they stagger. So like one will come on the 12th, or excuse me, 25th.
The 13th.
The 13th.
12th,
Yes,
yeah.
right. And go along with that, and then they stagger out.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and the day this airs, the Yule lad that's going to be joining us is actually Stubby.
Oh,
so he's
nice.
going to eat the crust left on our frying pan.
Just don't make fun of his height. So these won't harm anyone, right? These
Right.
guys, they're actually looking to leave gifts. So if there's a good child,
GIFs.
definitely gift. So if there's a good child, they will leave something like a coin or a nut or a berry or something.
If children are bad,
What will they get, Joel?
they will leave a potato in their shoe.
Hey, Jake would love that.
I would like to be bad.
It's a rotten potato, though.
It's a
Yeah,
Wendy's,
in
it's
some
a Wendy's
instances,
potato.
it's a rotten potato. That's right.
Wendy's potato.
Covered in chili.
Wait, there's chives there
Dry
in the
covered
other
in
shoe.
chives.
Isn't that a movie review website?
But yeah, so they leave them in the shoes of these children. So they won't harm your kids. In fact, sounds like they'll do your chores except for door slammer. Like, so annoying.
Yeah.
But they
Worst.
will leave a potato or goodies in the shoes of children.
That's right.
So that's Iceland.
Yeah.
Gorilla is actually kind of a scary idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she is like this parasitic beggar who will eat your kids.
And they have these giant like statues of Grilla that have a huge bowl that you can get in and take a picture in, and it's like that's kind of the fun touristy thing to do in these areas.
But who do we have next, Zach?
Next we have Mary Lwyd.
Mary Lwyd. Now
Mary
this
Lwyd.
isn't Iceland anymore.
No.
Sounds
We're moving on
Icelandic.
to Wales. with this one.
Wales. Oh, okay.
So to explain this one, because I think we need a visual, because
Before we explain it, let's spell it.
Yes, it's Mari space new word capital Lwyd.
Mary Lwyd.
if there was a character that belonged in our cryptid bracket from this show, I mean, Krampus is a big one, but
Yeah.
this one seems very likely. This is a Christmas zombie horse, basically.
Nice.
Like it is and this is a tradition that happens, I would say just as much as the Krampus one. You have, is it an actual skull
Yeah,
of
it's
a
a
horse?
horse's
It's a
skull.
horse's skull.
Sometimes they use paper mache or something
Okay.
like that, but a lot of people just use a horse's
So
skull.
there's about 6 people that do this, and it's I don't know if it's generally children or adults, but one person holds the skull.
It seemed
and
like
the others,
grown men. Every video
Right.
I watched are pictures
which
of
is
grown
so
men.
weird. But then
that's the thing is a lot of these are grown men.
Scaring children.
but
Nothing
the,
wrong with that.
A rat,
Zach just looked at a picture.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's like a really cool skull and like this
a
janky
white
sheet.
sheet.
Yeah.
And there are about 5 people to hold the sheet, and so it's kind of like almost like a Chinese New Year dragon, but it is a skull of a horse.
Well, and they do like they'll have ribbons hanging off its head. They'll have
one
they'll put-
person's meant to lead it
Yeah.
to not let it basically cause more damage.
and they'll put like Christmas ornaments in the skull socket, so it looks creepy. If you look up Mari space Lwyd, you're going to see some creepy stuff.
There's some cool stuff.
So, Chris,
Right.
what does Mary Lwyd do? What is the tradition here?
This tradition is really similar to the Krampuslauf. It's more of wandering from house to house, wandering around the village type thing.
So I looked up a video, an old video, like it must have been 40s or 50s. It was old black and white grainy footage, and it was these people in Wales walking up to a door with this Mary Lwyd, and it was one of the most terrifyingly boring things I've seen. Because they walk up to the door, they start singing, and they just sing this long song, and they're all singing it together. And then it stops, and then the person in the house responds with the song. And then they sing.
And they just go
then
back and forth and back and forth.
But the problem is, if you don't sing a song or a riddle in return, you're in trouble.
Well, basically what you have to do is the Mary Lwyd comes along, the little horse skull on the sheet, walks up to your door and is like, let me in. And then you have to come up with an excuse and sing it back to them of why they can't come in. And then they have to solve that excuse. And then you can sing them another excuse and they have to sing back.
Don't you
a
think
reason
this
for
is
that.
probably like a rap battle at this point?
This is the origins of the rap battle.
Some Yo Mama jokes in there somewhere.
Yeah. But it was just weird to watch. Like, it's just kind
Visually,
of surreal.
this is one of the most terrifying ones.
It is.
Just because of the horse skull.
Yeah. And they say that they really don't know the origin of why this started.
Exactly. There was a very famous poem by T.S. Eliot, but that also wasn't the origin. It just kind of gave some of the legend and lore of it.
Yeah. And the reason they're trying to get inside is that if the Mary Lwyd is let inside your home, you then have to give it some sort of food or drink as it runs amok around your house.
I love that they go to homes, but also pubs just as much.
Yeah.
So the adults who are trying to act as Mary Lwyd are basically just trying to get drunk.
Yeah. I don't know
give us free drinks.
Yeah. It's just bizarre. Like
Yeah,
this
it's
is
so
one where
creepy.
It's a weird looking tradition, and I just sit there and wonder why are they doing this?
And this one is more tradition based than based on the actual creature. Right? Unless there was a Mary Lwyd who was like flowing white sheet and it's a ghost horse.
Ghost skeleton.
Yeah.
horse,
Not
yeah.
as far as I can tell.
Which I'm happy about. I'm glad this isn't based off anything real.
Now let's move over to France, where we have Père Fouettard.
Good job.
Which is French for father whipper or old man whipper.
What?
To describe this character, he has a sinister face. He's dressed in dark robes with unkempt hair and a long beard. Basically, he looks like a dirty Santa, but like it's like a dark robes. It's like a black suit instead of a red one.
Okay.
Essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is in France. It's in Switzerland. It's in Belgium. Probably in Canada, because everywhere they're speaking French, there's Père Fouettard.
So do we want to give the story of Père Fouettard?
Go for it.
But please.
I don't even know. Chris, do you know the story?
This one I'm not as familiar with.
So he was an evil butcher who craved children to eat.
This is a weird story, by the way.
Oh, hold on. Let me bring it down. He or his wife lured 3 boys into the butcher shop where he
Just say he killed them.
and chopped and salted
No,
them.
stop it.
Saint Nicholas came to the rescue, resurrected the boys, and took custody of the butcher. So this is one of those examples where Santa comes by. What did you do?
What have you done now?
I salted these boys.
I assaulted them.
Salted or assaulted?
Assaulted.
Both. And Santa's basically
Turn them into a stew.
he basically says, well, you have to work for me now. So the boys came back to life.
No, see, that's the weirdest thing to me, is this horrible man killed these children, and
Right.
Santa's like, hey, you want a job?
Hey, you want to come work for me?
I see promise in you.
But it was almost like he had to make up for it. Right?
Yeah,
So this
that's what he's doing.
is another one of those characters. His job is to dispense punishment to bad children on St. Nicholas Day, which is the 6th of December, right?
Right.
Yeah. But the other thing I was going to mention, this tradition actually did make it over to the United States in the 1930s, and they translated the name to Father Flog
Oh, wow.
or
Okay.
Spanky.
Ooh.
So
Is that
that's
one
right.
of the Yule ads?
That's what I thought too.
Also an
The little
alias of
rascal,
mine.
the little rascal is Père Fouettard.
Wow. Because the
Pierre.
punishment
Okay.
the punishment he gives is like beatings to naughty children and lumps of coal, which here we just attribute that to Santa. Like
Right.
you'll get coal in your stocking, but this is his job. The father whipper, that was his job.
So it's
Which I
almost,
have to-
he's a recruit.
Yes.
Recruited by Santa. He does the coal.
But I have to wonder if that lump of coal thing is where that came from, was from this folklore from way back when, or if that was always part of Santa Claus.
Right.
And I don't know. I actually don't
Yeah.
know. I was trying to figure that out and didn't have enough time to figure it out. So if you know, listener, let me know.
The coal seems to be connected with a lot of these figures, so I'm sure it's moved to the U.S. somehow through all of these.
The funny thing about the coal thing is, to me, is I don't think they realized how hard it would be to get coal in 2020 for bad children.
Yeah.
Like they should have made it like a rock, just a regular old dumb rock, because now it's like, oh, I got to go out and find it or pay this much for it.
Well, and especially if you're thinking about Germany and you know your world history, like coal was not always easy to get.
Yeah, it seems
it's
like
kind of
almost more
valuable.
expensive, to get the coal.
Now, I believe this next one is Greek, if I'm not right. Oh boy, here we go. Kallikantzaros.
What did you call me?
What did I? What?
I actually have a
Kallikantzaros?
song for this one.
Okay.
Kallikantzaros, the Christmas werewolf.
Accurate, actually.
Yeah,
He's very impish, just very small creatures, but they just prowl.
Well, and that's
like little goblins? Or?
Well, okay, so there's different descriptions. The most common one is that they're small black creatures, humanoid figurines with like long black tails, little demons. But some Greeks have said that they're hairy bodies, horse legs, boar tusks. Others see them as humans of small size that smell horrible. So bad smelling short people. And
I remember that Randy Newman song.
They also, some would describe them as tall, black, and hairy with burning red eyes, goats or donkey ears, monkeys' arms, tongues that hang out, heads that are huge. Apparently, they're mostly blind and speak with a lisp and love to eat frogs, worms, and other small creatures. So, depending which country you're in, because this is Greece, Bulgaria, Serbia, Albania, Bosnia, Cyprus, all have this kind of Kallikantzaros.
So, Chris, with your family coming from Germany, did you know much about these characters?
Not this one. This one was new to me as I kind of looked up different characters for this. But it's definitely one that seems to be the most spread out of a lot of these characters. Like Joel said, so many different countries have their own different version of this character.
Well, and there was a section there about Bulgarian folklore, and I had my sister-in-law, Rosalie, and my brother-in-law, Colby, both served in Bulgaria. And I asked them, like, did you ever hear about this? Because this is crazy. And both of them went, no, didn't really cross our radar. So I don't know how strong the tradition still is or if these are around.
This one just feels like these are the minions of evil, basically, because lore is, in this part of the world, that there is a world tree.
Yes.
It's like the unobtainium tree, right?
It's a giant tree that kind of connects the whole world together.
Right. And so these impish creatures, they spend most of the year trying to chop this thing down from underground.
Yeah.
And then finally around Christmas, and it's around the 12 days of Christmas, kind of when the Yule lads come out and play or do your chores. These
Please let there be a band called the Yule Lads.
There has to be.
There's got to be.
But they're like a doo-wop band or something. But these creatures come out and during this time, and they're like, hey, we're going to leave that down there. And they want to destroy the world, basically.
Yeah, so
like from the normal level, like from our level.
Like they're almost done chopping this tree down every December, and then all of a sudden 12 days come up. They're like, oh, we can go upstairs and cause some mischief.
Yeah,
and they go up, and then when they come back down, the tree is healed, and they have to start all over
the
again.
Tree grew back
for a whole year. They do it again. It's like Sisyphus.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just
you
kind of
think
ridiculous.
they'd learn.
So if you want to stop these, Zach, what are they called again?
Oh, dang it. Kallikantzaros.
Kallikantzaros is the singular.
You gave it 19 more syllables than it needed.
Kallikantzaro is the singular. Kallikantzaroi is the plural.
Kallikantzaros.
So if you'd like to stop them from coming into your home and wreaking destruction.
Spell it for people who can Google this.
Kallikantzaroi.
Mouse.
Why? Because I fear them. So if you don't want them to come into your home, because they will destroy your home. So you can hang the jaw of a pig behind your door. And they also love to count things. They are super OCD.
Which we found like in vampire folklore.
Right.
Some of the translations of this name means vampire or werewolf. And they have this kind of OCD tendency to count things.
Yeah, so it says, hang up some flax, and they'll get too busy counting the strands to be a nuisance. They'll be counting them all night, and they can't do anything else. Also, they like to enter via the chimney. Interesting, right? So the easiest way to keep them out is to keep a roaring fire in your fireplace, and they won't be able to come in.
Some people even throw foul-smelling shoes into the fire to keep them away, and other guests, apparently.
Right. So they're stinky, but they also hate smelly shoes?
Yes. But one of my favorite ways to get rid of them...
With rotten potatoes in them, right?
Yes. One of my favorite ways to prevent them from leaving your home, or entering your home, was to leave a colander on your doorstep. So just like a little strainer, you put it on your doorstep, and they see that, and they want to count it. However, tradition also states that they cannot count to the number 3 because that is a holy number, and if they say the number 3, they will then kill themselves. So they just sit there and count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and they waste the whole night doing that. The sun comes up and they have to go back home.
Jeez.
So just put a colander on your
Let's go get the
porch.
world tree this time. This is our year.
That's the easiest way.
Like jazz fans. Really. Real topical.
BYU.
So, Chris, is there a tradition based around Kallikantzaros? Or is it just these things, these creatures of lore that people would maybe hang some flax to keep them away?
This one seems just to be, like you said, just creatures of lore that they would celebrate or kind of think about during the
so they don't
season.
get their own parade.
They
or
don't
anything.
have parades, right? They don't. They're not as prevalent as like the Krampus or the Frere Fouettard or whatever. My French isn't very strong, but
But I have some bad news for you guys.
oh no.
Tell me.
If you were born during the 12 days of Christmas, which is from December 25th to January 5th.
Will you sing the song for me real quick?
12 days
No,
of
please
Christmas.
don't.
But if you were born during the 12 days of Christmas, you are in danger of transforming into a Kallikantzaros during each Christmas season.
Oh no.
So if you have a child born during this time, you can actually bind the baby in tresses of garlic or straw and singe the child's toenails to help them not become a Kallikantzaros.
Nice.
Also, according to legend, anyone born on a Saturday could see and talk with the Kallikantzaroi, so they can actually see them.
What a bum deal, though, because
Guys, I was born on a Saturday.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
not only do you get combined presents for your birthday and Christmas, you could be a Kallikantzaros.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
if you were born between December 25th and January 5th, you could be a Kallikantzaros.
Mom, why did you just get me one gift for both? Because you're a Kallikantzaros and you're a
Mom,
disappointment.
why did you singe my toenails?
Poor Kallikantzaros.
What did you do?
I love the name now.
Yeah, that's great. All right, now let's finish this up with a few more from good old Germany. Let's talk some more about Germany, including, I'm so sorry, Knecht Ruprecht.
Yeah, Chris.
Knecht Ruprecht.
Oh, the
Chris,
K.
would you tell us about this one?
So Knecht Ruprecht is very similar to kind of the Krampus type of character. So he is not a creature, though. He's often depicted wearing black or brown robes, generally has a pointed hood. In some depictions, he walks with a limp because of a childhood injury.
Does he hang out with St. Nicolaus?
He does.
Well, and it also, Knecht Ruprecht actually translates to farmhand Rupert or servant Rupert or actually servant Robert as well. So he's kind of just this dude who limps and wears robes.
He's kind of represented as the kind of like you said, the farmhand, just the lower
status,
class
yeah.
type person. So tradition says that Knecht Ruprecht asks children if they know how to pray. And if they can, they'll receive apples and gingerbreads.
Like the Lord's Prayer,
Right.
for example.
And if they can't, the children are hit with his bag of ashes.
So he has
Seems
a bag of ashes and just swings us and hits him in the face with it.
Reminds me of Homie the Clown, just swinging that bag around.
Homie, don't play that.
Homie, don't play that. If they're not able to pray, like I said, he hits them with the bag of ashes. In some stories, he also gives the naughty kids a lump of coal or sticks or stones.
Yeah, sometimes
the stones.
The thing is,
cheaper?
sometimes they'll leave just a stick, and they're leaving a stick so the kids' parents can beat them.
Oh, my
And
word.
it's kind of this threatening thing, like it's like the horse head in the bed thing, where it's like you get up in the morning, run downstairs, and there's sticks in there, and you're like, oh no.
Can you say I'll give him an offer he can't refuse in German with a German accent?
If we'll give him an offer, he will never refuse. Fun fact, by the way, random fact, but I just thought this was fun. In the German version of The Simpsons, they don't call their dog Santa's Little Helper. They call him Knecht Ruprecht.
What?
Yeah.
So he's basically Santa's little helper.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go.
Okay, so that leads us right into a pretty big one. Almost as well known as Krampus because of a TV episode.
Yes.
Belsnickel.
Well, of course, we're talking about The Office because there's a very famous episode where Dwight Schrute comes in to give a traditional Pennsylvania Dutch Christmas.
Yeah.
And he's Belsnickel and basically hits people if they are, what does he say? It's
Impish.
not impish.
Oh,
Impish or admirable
Yeah.
instead of naughty and nice.
As sad as it is, this is probably one of the most accurate current portrayals of one of these Christmas characters is Dwight's portrayal of Belsnickel.
Which the name Belsnickel comes from the word pelzen or belzen, which is German for to wallop or to drub, which also means to hit.
Yeah. So he says he's basically homeless, typically very ragged and disheveled, and he wears these kind of just tattered clothes. And he does carry the switch in his hand to beat naughty children, but also has pockets full of cakes, candies, and nuts for good children.
Oh, lovely.
And it seems like he actually travels on his own. It's not like he's
one of
coming
the
the same
few.
night as Santa. And he celebrated, like we said, in Pennsylvania Dutch communities, Southwest Germany, and Brazilian German communities, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I think wherever the Germans go, Belsnickel follows.
Yeah. So one of the traditions and what people how people celebrate, or at least how children prepared for Belsnickel or Belsnickel?
I say Belsnickel.
Belsnickel. It sounds more plausible that way.
More Germanish?
Yeah, more Germanish. So he would show up to houses 1 to 2 weeks before Christmas and often just kind of warn the kids that he'd be there and he'd be coming back. And then when he came back, he'd rap on the door or window with a stick, and then he'd ask the child who was probably naughty because he knew who was going to be naughty. He'd ask this child a question or to sing a type of song. And if the child passed the test, he would throw candy or cakes on the floor. But it was kind of a trap.
Because if the kid jumped too quick,
Yes.
he'd whip him in the back.
So he's like, good job. And he'd throw some candy on the floor.
Plot too quick, smack.
It's horrible.
Yeah. No, it's one of those characters, too, where you just read this and you're like, but why?
Yeah.
Why, Belschnickel? Why? So he's a character in the Christmas Chronicles 2 as well. In fact, he's the main antagonist in Christmas Chronicles 2.
I really gotta watch this show.
And they still have, I'm not going to say any of these right, Belschnickeling, Klausentreiben, which is basically a group of men dressing up in Belschnickel costumes and running around the streets of the town or village ringing bells and chains. Like they don't even do the cool stuff of like knocking on door and begging for food or scaring children. They just want to run around the streets dressed like Belschnickel.
So we've talked about a few characters that are very, they'll still punish children, but they're nicer in appearance, maybe a little disheveled. No one really has the fear that I get when I see Krampus.
Right.
Yeah, he's a demon.
But then there's the character that we want to mention next.
Frau Perkta.
Our final character of the evening.
Frau Perkta.
Frau Perkta.
If you go Google image search Frau Perkta,
Yeah,
you may see a character that's beautiful and white as snow, or an elderly and haggard old woman.
With one large foot.
Yes.
She has
very creepy looking or very beautiful.
one foot that's bigger than the other, and that apparently gives her the power. It symbolizes her power to shapeshift into animal form. Also, Frau Perkta can also be called Perkt or Bertha. So I may just call her Bertha this whole rest of the time because I like that. She was once known as a goddess in Alpine paganism. Once again, Alpine. What the heck?
So Frau Perkta, she comes out for the 12 days of Christmas, and it says she prowls the Alps. Like you said, Joel, Alpine region, apparently.
Watch out, Utah County.
Yeah, seriously. So she would know whether children or young servants of a household had behaved well and worked hard all year. She's watching all year.
She sees you when you're
right? So
sleeping.
this is something it's like in June, you can
She
warn
knows when
kids.
you're awake.
Frau Perkta is watching. So it's
Yeah.
not just Santa. Frau Perkta.
And
is
apparently she
watching.
was really obsessed with spinning.
Yeah.
Like the process of basically spinning threads into cords. Or I don't know sewing that much, but apparently spinning was something she oversaw and knew if you were doing it at an appropriate amount of time.
Yeah.
She knows when you are spinning.
It could also be spin class. I don't know.
And if you're good, she'll give you a silver coin. But if you're bad, she will slit your belly open, remove your stomach and guts, and stuff the hole with straw and pebbles and waste.
Why didn't that song catch on?
I love it.
It
no,
is Frau
it's-
Perkta.
It is all. This is horrific. But she would, like Ken said, she would cut open. If you were good, you get a silver coin.
Yeah,
And she would-
sounds nice.
But if you were bad, she would literally cut you open and then pull out your guts and stuff you with straw and pebbles, which sounds horrific. Why would you tell your children that?
Yeah.
Apparently, she would also stuff them with straw if they ate something on the night of her feast day other than the traditional meal of fish and gruel. So she would.
Delicious.
That's if you ate anything
Tier
like that
one.
on her day, she would cut you.
So there is a cult of Perkta, which is, I don't know if this still exists to this day. I really hope not. But these followers, they'll leave food and drink for this character in hopes of receiving wealth and abundance. So like these silver coins, they hope that it's kind of a traditional way of receiving these blessings from Frau Perkta, I guess.
Yeah. And in Italy, actually, they have La Befana, who is kind of the Christmas witch and similar to Bertha here.
Yeah. Bertha.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, she particularly, she rewards the generous and punishes the bad, particularly lying children. She does not like liars.
Yeah.
That is her big no-no.
So there is a festival in Austria. Austria and Germany, like that is like the area if you want to go to cool parades.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you, around
Yeah.
Christmas time,
I'm sure there's no alcohol whatsoever.
None.
the 12 days of Christmas in Austria or Germany is going to be a fun
Yeah,
time.
so they actually have a festival where people have these homemade wooden animal masks, and they're meant to be grotesque. Like, for some reason, people like celebrating with really ugly, horrific images. These masks are worn to drive away evil spirits.
Is that why people celebrate with pictures of me?
Oh, self-slammed. Zach, we love you.
Thank you.
These events are what the Krampuslauf really comes from. The Perchten came first, and the Krampus came after, basically, and they basically merged into the same thing. So the Perchten costumes are very similar to the Krampus costumes, where they're a big suit of fur. The masks are still wooden, hand carved, but they're generally a little bit more grotesque, have more exaggerated features, big eyes, big nose, big ears, 4, 6 horns coming out of their heads. A lot of them have jaws that open and close with teeth that hang out and tongues that hang out. At these Krampus events, you'll see really a mixture of the two. They've kind of become one in that area.
Is there a rumble ever? Like the Bertha
Krampus
gang?
Bertha and Krampus going at it again.
Not necessarily, but there is something called a remperl, which is where
German for rumble.
Right. Which is where members of the same group will actually have a little rumble. It's all in fun,
And they all have switches to beat each other with.
Exactly. They'll kind of push each other around, hit each other with their switches, and it's all a big show for the audience.
I wonder how well these work for children in these countries.
Well, that's the thing is, I wonder in the world of skeptical children all over the world, if it's still just like, yeah, whatever, Mom. My belly's fine. I'm going to eat something else besides gruel tonight.
Yeah.
Or if they're actually still terrified of these folklore creatures.
Is it wrong? I kind of hope they are. Is it wrong that I am? If I wake up with a potato in my shoe tomorrow,
Run.
Don't tempt me, Ken.
At these bigger events, there are videos on YouTube and all over the internet, but some little kids really get into it. They love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I myself would have been scared to death, but these little kids that are 4 and 5 years old will get up right next to the Krampus or the Perchten, and they'll get their pictures taken with them. They'll give them a big hug, and it's like, this is not Mickey Mouse. This is a demon goat thing.
Do you find that do kids here, are they pretty cool with it too, or are they? Have you had any big scares?
They're pretty freaked out.
Yeah.
From my experience, they've been pretty scared. Or
it's funny because I would say North America is the land of Halloween. Like
Right.
it's very popular here. But when you transition to the Christmas spirit and you see something like this, all of a sudden you can't be in the Halloween mindset.
Right.
It would be scary.
we're pretty desensitized here, but when you're expecting Santa Claus to bring you presents and you get a goat demon that's here to kidnap you and whip you with sticks, that's not what you're expecting.
I was going to say, Chris, any other random ones you just want to bring up, or?
No, I think those are the big ones. As part of the Krampus groups, there are other characters. Like we talked about before, there's always a Nikolaus, but they will also have angels that travel with them to these house visits or in the Krampuslaufs. And the angels are actually meant to kind of be a comfort for the kids. So the angels will hand out the candy, perhaps, or get a little bit closer with the kids.
I'm just saying, if I was at home and all of a sudden a goat demon comes in and angels come around, I'd be like, "Hey, stop! I just want the fat man.
Yep,
just the jolly red fat man.
I'm having a fever dream.
Why is that horse head wearing a sheet?
I shouldn't have snorted those pixie sticks.
Oh no, it's crazy though. Like as I read this, it's just amazing to me how some traditions held and some traditions didn't, and how some changed and some didn't. And I have to say, I'm grateful for the jolly old St. Nicholas that we have.
I totally agree.
I would hate to have grown up being like, is my belly going to get cut open?
But you are a child of horror, Joel.
I am.
And wouldn't it be so much fun to have a Krampus legend not maybe as prevalent as St. Nicholas, but to be part of what we remember from Christmas past?
But no, because I tell you what, it's like Christmas roulette. You're sitting there like, okay, go to sleep. Good luck tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens.
Sure.
Hope I see you.
You hear bells, and bells could be carried by any number of these creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just terrifying.
Here's what I want. I want more Krampus movies. Like, I'm not saying that same exact movie. I want to see Santa. And I know there's like bad sci-fi movies of this,
Right.
but like real Santa, maybe like Kurt Russell versus Krampus. Like I think it could happen, and I would watch it.
But Krampus seems to work with Santa. That's what I'm saying. Like
In some legends.
it's good cop, bad cop. That's what I just feel like it is. It's like you guys do all the dirty work, and then I'll come in when the nice kids are there. I'll get the easy stuff.
That's the tradition. Is it like you said, good cop, bad cop. Santa is good, Krampus is bad. But with the way we're kind of adopting things in America, it definitely could go that way where
It's a straight up evil. It's like the devil, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like-
the movie that came out as
It kinda
terrible
created
as it
its-
is and as
Whoa.
non-traditional
We'll
as it is.
Just because it's not rated R doesn't mean it's bad.
Well,
Both of these guys really liked it.
I do
that
have
quote.
I do have to say I actually really like the movie, but it's just not
It created its own
traditional at
lore,
all. Right.
rules.
It created its own lore. Exactly.
Kent gave it a B+. Joel gave it 3.5 stars.
yeah, I stand by it.
I still would.
I just wish it were a little bit darker.
I watched it. I watched it again, and I was like, "This is kind of fun."
it just takes too long to get into it.
It's a good laugh.
Yeah. But let us know. I was going to say if we missed any. If you guys know of a tradition somewhere in the world that you've encountered,
Yeah, we know Europe is weird, but
Yeah.
if anywhere else in the world is weird too, we'd love to know.
yeah, because let us know on our Facebook, let us know on our Instagram, let us know on our Twitter. We enjoy hearing your feedback, and we hope that you learned something today, and that you're going to behave a little bit more now, kids.
So, Chris, please give people information on how if they want to be part of the Krampus 801 group,
Or if they want to hire them.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
So we are on Facebook and Instagram. Just search Krampus 801. I've set up a kind of a fan page where you can follow us and see what we've got going on, and also like a group page if you're interested
Ooh, cool logo.
in participating. But yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram. I try to keep pretty active on social media.
You can see pictures here of visits, home visit. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, any other shout outs you want to make at this time?
I do want to make sure that I give a shout out to my wife's cake company. The Patreon is actually under her name. So
Sweet Bottom Cakes.
Sweet Bottom Cakes.
Yeah, tell us about Sweet Bottom Cakes, because I thought it was just a nickname you gave her, and come to find out, no, it's
It's a real company.
It's a term of
company.
endearment.
Yeah.
Oh, come here, Sweet Bottom Cakes.
I just liked your page, by the way.
Oh, thank you. She started doing cakes a few years ago, and she does it just out of our house. And I mean, she's completely self-taught. She's made a lot of really impressive things. So
She did a Harry Potter cake recently that was there was like a little phoenix on top and like, but it was so cool.
So, can we find these on Instagram?
yeah, she's on Instagram, Sweet Bottom Cakes, Facebook, Sweet Bottom Cakes also. Maybe Sweet Bottom Cakes Utah. I can't remember.
At Sweet Bottom Cakes Utah
Yeah.
on but if you just search Sweet Bottom
Yeah.
Cakes, that's what you get.
That'll be
We
it.
hope. But Chris, we want to thank you for being here. We want to thank you for being a patron of Baconsale. We really do appreciate it. And thank you for the topic, too, because this was a way we could kind of sneak in another Halloween show in our Christmas shows.
Yeah, thanks for having me out. It's always fun to spread the tradition of Krampus and bring something new to the area.
Yeah.
Especially Alpine.
Alpine.
And speaking of patrons, we have some more that we'd like to thank, including our I Am the Listener tier, where we have Adrian Gray, Terry Finley. Kyler wants to remind Kent that he is here to help on any shows at any time.
That's his name?
Yeah. Crew Dutler, Sean Sandquist, Alicia Bass, Plot Twist Media, Braden Winterton, Sweet Bottom Cakes, Jessica and Chris Draudt, Jennifer Kilkowski, Dr. Jen, Glow Daniel, Babs, and The Shadow.
Mysterious Shadow.
Then in our Bacon Council, we have Chris Anderson, Hailstorm, Ryan Farron, Mats, Stephen Ross, Jessica Terry, Brian Madsen, and Reverse Listener.
Thank you,
so
patrons.
much. We really do appreciate it. You help us keep doing what we're doing here in the Bacon Cave, and you just make us feel warm and fuzzy as well. Just a reminder, by the way, next week is going to be our season finale of Baconsale. After that, we're going to be taking off a few weeks, just to get ourselves back together and recover.
Try to plan for a better year.
Try to, anyway.
Let's hope our schedule doesn't get blown to pieces next year,
Yeah.
too.
It will.
But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter. You can find me performing with Quickwits. They perform every Saturday night at 9 o'clock online for free. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page.
If you want to find me on Twitter or Instagram, it's at Kenny3DD. If you want to read my new movie reviews, which are happening on Christmas Day, go to ShowtimeShowdown.com.
If you'd like to connect with me, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Tumbling Mustard. But more importantly, make sure you're following Baconsale on social media. That's at Baconsale on Twitter and Instagram, as well as liking the Facebook page, Baconsale Hickory Smoked Pop Culture. It's not short. And then make sure you stop by tpublic.com/Baconsale. Get yourself some fun shirts, great gifts for the holidays.
New designs.
New designs are on the way. And then if you like what's going on here, make sure you support the show at patreon.com/Baconsale. Support starts at just $3 a month. And until next time, we wish you a very happy holiday from Baconsale and all 13 of the Icelandic Yule lads.
Name them.
It's in parentheses, so I don't really have to read it. It's inferred.
Oh, the house visits can be pretty traumatic.
Can we just call it Europe is weird?
So it's like Comic-Cons, but for pagans? Oh, we got another child that disappeared.
Weird.
It was Krampus. Gong, gong.
You probably will have contacted this group and told them you've got bad kids.
It's a scared straight Christmas
Exactly.
style. So my dating technique, I can call it the Krampus.
You can call it the Krampus.
Don't call it the Krampus. I don't see the joy in getting whipped on the legs
Right.
for a holiday. But
Oh, I get it.
I would be whisk licker because when you're making the
Whisk licker. Yeah, there's my kid's dishwasher and floor vacuumer. Crit, growl, Icelandic Yule lads.
don't correct him.
Hawk Tokturin.
You have to say it.
Mari Lwyd. Père Fouettard. Kallikantzaros. Knecht Ruprecht. Pelsnickel. Frau
Krampus and friends. Lwyd was the eldest of the children of Krampus. And Père Fouettard is the next in line.
Stop it. Take it out. You have to do this on accident.
Knecht Ruprecht and
You have to get it way wrong.
No way.
Kallikantzaros.
It's not racist. It's European.
And Gryla and lads. Krampus and friends.
Probably move on.
Krapechte and Spenschluckle, which leaves only one.
Okay, we have Krampus, and the heel come up again, I'm sure. But
Krampus and friends.
Joel's loving this.
Cat got your clothes.
If children are bad,
What will they get, Joel?
they will leave a potato in their shoe.
What have you done now?
I salted these boys. Not only do you get combined presents for your birthday and Christmas, you could be a Kallikantzaros.
Yeah. Mom, why did you singe my toenails? Why, Belschnickel? Why?
Is that why people celebrate with pictures of me?
Oh.
This is not Mickey Mouse. This is a demon goat thing.
Why is that horse head wearing a sheet?
I shouldn't have snorted those pixie sticks. Just because it's not rated R doesn't mean it's bad.
Oh, come here, sweet bottom cakes.
Ooh, Krampus is coming.
I'm gonna get my
You've been impish.
switches.
I would like to be a terrifying Christmas witch.